called Cyber Safety in Blockchain. For that, we have a team of experts over here coming from various backgrounds and industry. So I'd like to first introduce Alvin, who is the president of Institute of Singapore Blockchain, and also John McCruden, who is an aircraft engineer turned cybersecurity expert. So, but first, Alvin, maybe you want to make an introduction of yourself.
All right. First of all, to thank the organizer for the invitation. So my name is Alvin. I'm the founder of the Institute of Blockchain Singapore. So we are a blockchain and edutech school based in Singapore. So we are approved by the Ministry of Education. We have been conducted blockchain courses and workshops for the past 1 year, trained about 900 plus students. We are a graduated startup under the Alibaba Cloud and Singapore University of Social Sciences Entrepreneurship Program. Yes, and prior to that, my background is 8 years in investment. And to be honest, I'm not a cybersecurity expert. I will try to value add the audience in terms of my personal and professional teaching experiences. And on the personal level, I'm also a committee member of the ISO TC307 blockchain and DLT standards. Yeah, so there's about 25% of the country in the world that is participating members and observing members of the ISO TC307. So it's just like about 49 out of 190 plus countries in the world. Yep. And also, I'm also an advisor to Nanyang Blockchain Association, a blockchain student club of Nanyang Technological University in Singapore. Yep.
Perfect. So my name is John McCruden, and as been recently mentioned, I am an aircraft engineer. But to be honest with you, the difference between aircraft engineering and IT sector is not that much. Simply put it, it's problem solving. If you can learn something, you can implement it, you can change something. It's pretty simple, right? I teach basic computer programming to autistic children at Perth Autism Support in Scotland. And lastly, I advocate and teach cybersecurity because I don't believe that people understand how important it is just to even know basic security in the cyber world.
All right, and myself, I just make a brief introduction. Although I'm part of Ultrax, which is the upcoming crypto exchange in Singapore, but also I have a technological background for the last 18 years, and I've also worked with radio network design, where I focus a lot on encryption, security protocol on the radio interface, where most of you guys are using, when it comes to mobile phones. So all those security that you have over the air, I'm one of them invented that. All right. So let's get to the gist of the presentation itself. Now, as you know, cybersecurity is a very vast topic, but often has a very common ground, and that is breaches. Very often we hear the stories about, just about a month back, we heard about, Singapore government agencies have been hacked, one of the worst hacks in the history of Singapore. We also had numerous cases of crypto exchanges that are being hacked over a period of time. So I'd like to point this first question perhaps to Alvin on why cybersecurity around crypto is ever more crucial than before.
Okay, so I'll take this question. Okay, anyway, you probably heard of Mt. Gox hack, CoinCheck was hacked, Bitfinex was hacked, CoinCheck, Bitstamp was hacked, and even 9hash was hacked, and MyEtherWallet.com was not really hacked, but they manipulate the Google DNS to point people to another URL of a fish website. So there's a lot of this kind of scammers taking advantage of the lapse in security and to exploit the users. So I would say that along the way, as blockchain and crypto gain more mass adoption along the way, scammers or hackers will always find different ways to hack, to try to exploit the users. So that's why the key thing is we need to know that these are the imminent threats that's coming to us. So we need to be educated, and even like blockchain startup or crypto firms, they need to really step up on their security internally or to safeguard the users.
So, in my personal opinion, cybersecurity around cryptocurrency is very, very important with one answer, or one-worded answer, which is data, okay? People don't realize how important data is. So, with getting into, or authentication, should we say, there's 3 types of authentications, okay? The first type is what you know. And what we know is your mom's maiden name, username, password, all this kind of stuff, which can easily be breached, okay? For example, let's say Facebook gets breached, right? Then your mom's maiden name is leaked, okay? And all the other bits and bobs as well, okay? The second is what you have. Now this is much better now because we have the 2-factor authentication. Now, there's still a risk. There's always a risk, because if you lose your phone and somebody gets into your phone, then still the two-factor authentication is breached. Also, if you have a keylogger, that's another breach. And third and most important is biometrics. Please, can I see a show of hands of people who's using biometrics in their phones? I'm sure the majority of the people here are using biometrics. Yeah? Now, I came to Kuala Lumpur here, and I had to give both of my fingerprints as I went through immigration. Okay? Let's say, I hope this doesn't happen, but let's say that the server, which contains millions of people's fingerprints, are breached. What then? Think about it. We only have one fingerprint, right? If that's breached, what are you going to use? Okay? So these three types of authentication is really, really important, and we really need to understand how to keep these three quite important. Once they know these three informations, it's simply social engineering. Okay? They know everything about you. They know what you're going to get on Amazon. They'll send you a phishing email, and boom, they've got you. Done.
Yeah, thanks for the great answers and insights into this. Now, as you know, more and more people are so fond of being connected to the social world of Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and so on and so forth. And whether willingly or unwillingly, they are actually uploading a lot of their personal and private information online. And as you know, more and more hack attempts are being attempted in terms of, mimicking the user profile itself, claiming that they are who they are, copying someone else's profile, and getting intruding into other people's life through so-called a copy of another person. So how do you close the gaps when it comes to this? Because more and more people are getting online, they're not getting offline. If you truly want to get offline, then you have to switch off all your internet and just stay at home. Obviously, you can't do that. So how do you close these gaps, Elvin?
Okay, from the security perspective, we classify in three areas. Like blockchain security, you have the consensus, depending on what kind of consensus you are using, proof of work, proof of stake, or even PPFT to secure the blockchain. That is on the dev side, so not to the user side. So on the other two is cryptocurrency security and even smart contract security. So I will touch on smart contract, for example, because that is the first layer whereby funds are always been siphoned out or been scammed away. So you see how many of us, when we transfer a crypto funds over the blockchain, we actually, before you send to that contract address, you actually go and read the smart contract. Because you may not be code savvy, you may not be a programmer or dev, there's no chances that you will go and read a code. Yeah, even so, you can get your friends who is maybe proficient in the coding or even the codes to read for you. That's on the smart contract audit. Yeah. But I'm a culprit of myself, because that is based on trust. You trust that the ICO is legit, that you will just send the fund across without even checking the contract address, have no bugs or loophole in the smart contract. So that is one security aspect. For crypto security, it's more on the exchanges, which Mr. John mentioned about 2FA. So some exchanges force the user to activate the 2FA upon signing up. But some exchanges make it optional, that the 2FA is optional. So you just sign up with a password email. So the password could be brute force. So depending on how strong your password, it can be take as easy as a few days to even years to brute force a password, depending on how secure your security is. Yep. So I think the most common problem is, we term it as user problem. So we need to really educate the user on even like public key, private key. So there's one instance whereby one of my students came across to tell me that this ICO is giving airdrops. And the ICO is asking for private key address. So I said, are you sure that the ICO is asking for private key address? So if it's public key address, okay, it's safe to give. But if it's a private key address, that is the red flag that you have to raise. So it's on really the user education on that, the technicalities of the blockchain itself. Yeah, thanks.
So in my perspective, when you're saying all security, okay, first of all, it's very difficult to make anything very, very secure, right? Moore's law states that technology will double through or with respect to time, right? So in my opinion, it's easily to crack something with respect to time as computational power increases, okay? So another error as well is the coder, okay? When a hacker gets into a hacker's shoes and he understands how this hacker works, he'll be able to find loopholes and work from there. The other side is that the users themselves, okay? I highly recommend for people to use password managers. You can get a free open source password manager, such as KeePass, okay? They're very, very easy to use. It will only take you 2 minutes. Basic encryption. Again, this is just like a 3-click button. You install it, you can encrypt your pen drive, and you can, in fact, walk around with an encrypted pen drive up to a military-grade encryption, okay? And you won't be afraid to walk around with a pen drive. It's that simple. Everything has become user-friendly, but people don't or has not been introduced to it. And this is why I'm coming here and trying to advocate this. Backing up, that's another method. You can get a very cheap $50 second-hand hard drive, back everything up, so if a malware such as WannaCry or ransomware comes to you, you're okay. You don't mind, you're not going to pay the $250, okay, because you've backed up. These are very, very simple, yet
The data either gets breached or, gets scammed into thinking that, someone is sending some legitimate information, let's say from banks and so on and so forth. How could blockchain in this space could help them to be better prepared when it comes to cybersecurity? Elvin?
So with this question, okay, May 24th, 2018, Bangladesh Bank got hacked. Over 80 million US dollars got hacked, okay? So the bank uses a global money transfer system called SWIFT. Let's just theorize that there's a private or closed blockchain system that the bank uses. It's not open source. It's purely being developed for the banks, okay? If it takes over 9 billion, correct? If it takes over 9 billion US dollars to hack Bitcoin itself, how much will it take to hack a bank's financial system? These are just options, So, in my personal opinion, the difference between standard IT and crypto IT is sort of the evolution from the sharing, so the torrents, up to the blockchain. Now we can have something online that can't be copied through the use of cryptography. And now, I suppose, is the usability of it. What can we do with it? We don't know yet. We will see in a few years, I suppose.
I would say that we all know that standard IT systems are mainly centralized systems, whereby it's a single point of failure. One is it's hacked, it's gone, it's burned, so there goes your data, there goes your security as well. So that's why there always been ongoing debate, centralized versus decentralized system, where blockchain, the true notion of a blockchain is decentralization. That's why we were seeing that how blockchain going to empower enterprises or even user level is more on gearing toward more decentralization, having that your data being stored across distributedly through a distributed computing system. That's how we can actually make sure that there's some form of security, that we are safe with our data, that it's not with one centralized platform that's easily hacked or prone to like DDoS attacks or these things. Right.
Okay. So we have 1 minute left, so if you could just give some of your key takeaways, summarizing in less than 15 seconds each, that'd be awesome. What's the key takeaway for people over here when it comes to cybersecurity?
So I think the best investment is not cryptocurrency investment. The best investment is not traditional stock investment, it's investment in yourself. So it's where we always advocate education in blockchain. Understand the blockchain first before you dabble with cryptocurrency, before you invest in crypto or ICOs. So that is the fundamental that we need to know, that education is key to everything. Thanks.
What I would like for people to take away from what I'm trying to advocate is that no one cares about their privacy until their security is breached. That's very true. That's a fact. Okay? I didn't really care as someone who's growing up with technology. I did not care about my privacy until I got personally scammed when I started in the blockchain. And that's when I really got into it. So what I would say is think about your privacy before you get breached. Do small things. If you want to know some small tips, give me a shout. I'd really happily teach you and show you a few programs that I highly recommend for you to use. And these are all open source, okay? If you don't want to use open source and you want to use a paid advert, then please feel free. Other than that, thank you very much.
So, Elvin and John, thank you very much for your time today, and hope the crowd found this topic useful. Thank you.
Thank you.